Do fossil fuels, greenhouse gases, deforestation, and pollution affect our environment? Have you ever heard on the news that one place got a drought while another got a flood? Why is that so? That is because of global warming. Global warming is when the Earth's temperature increases because of negative impacts, as well as severity in droughts and flooding, because the hot air cannot leave the atmosphere quick enough and just stays trapped in. It seems very subtle and unnoticeable, but our environment can become incredibly harmful to nature and organisms. Fossil fuels are completely treacherous to every living being. Fossil fuels are a type of gas that comes from ancient remains of prehistoric creatures. This means that it is a non-renewable source. One day we will panic about what to do when we run out of gas for our cars, or when power plants cannot conduct any more energy that came from these gases. This gas also affects nature and its creatures. Everybody knows that trees take in carbon dioxide and emit oxygen, but if the trees cannot get clean carbon dioxide, then they will have failure to producing clean oxygen, as well as failure to germinating. That oxygen is the number one life necessity in all land beings or beings with air lungs. Greenhouse gas is also guilty for being involved in global warming. It is what is making the atmosphere thicker. This causes the heat to intensify, which means that there would be a lot of droughts in one spot, and then that evaporated water would then be carried and dropped into another spot, creating a flood. That can be very dangerous to people, animals, and plants. The gas also keeps in harmful particles such as smoke and debris that commonly comes from power plants and factories. Deforestation is one of the worst parts of global warming. This is the process of extracting trees from biomes. Did you know that deforestation is one, if not the biggest reason for extinct animals? Animals lose their homes every day due to people making paper out of trees and then just throwing away that paper without even thinking about the decision they just made. It is a completely cruel way for an animal to forever leave. The rhinos, tigers, zebras, dolphins, otters, and much more are to the near edge of extinction. Now you're going to ask, what does pollution do? Pollution is when you litter, don't recycle, or misplace waste, which affects the environment. How? Because some animals will mistake it for food. All organisms are in a food chain or food web, which means that if one animal ate plastic, that plastic would contaminate its predator, and then its predator, and so on. Now let's look at some animal examples. According to worldwildlife.org, 52% of the world's sea turtles choke on plastic bags due to the fact that they resemble the natural looks of a prey to the turtle, a jellyfish. Studies from NWF.org show that increasing water temperatures are killing the fish or driving them away from their natural ecosystems. Because of deforestation, there are literally more panda expresses than real pandas. A dependable website, worldanimalfoundation.com, states that pollution stunts the growth of plants, which affects the omnivores and herbivores because they will starve. In summer 2009, there were 5 recalls that had to do with 1 million pounds of meat because there were trash and other gross things found inside of the meat. The reason why I brought this up is because we pollute and then the animals mistake it for food and we end up eating the contaminated animal. Caring for a planet is tough, but if we stay resilient, we can mend our world's giant scars. This is not a one-person job, but it takes all of the people around the world. Start by encouraging people to recycle more or place trash in recycle bins everywhere. And make sure not to litter, because what you do to the environment happens to you. And by that, I mean the meat problem. Stop someone from environmentally hurting the earth. Remember, never ever build onto global warming. Make sure to use your 4-H head for thinking about strategies to help the earth, your 4-H heart to care for the almost extinct animals and animals that are still there. Use your 4-H hands to help by cleaning up and recycling, reducing, and reusing. And you think about your 4-H health and others' health when you're going to help the earth.